If Tudor England had a patron saint of terrible decisions, dangerous gossip, and being in the wrong place at the worst possible time, Jane Boleyn would be a leading candidate. Because somehow this woman survived the downfall of Anne Boleyn, helped destroy Catherine Howard, and still managed to lose her own head. Honestly, if there were frequent execution miles in Tudor England, Jane would have qualified for a free beheading. Welcome back to Wed and Behead, where loyalty lasts about as long as Henry VIII's attention span, and secrets are merely rumors waiting for witnesses. Tonight we discuss one of the most controversial women in Tudor history, Jane Boleyn, Lady Rochford. The woman historians have argued about for centuries. Was she a victim, a survivor, a schemer, a gossip, or simply a woman trying desperately not to become collateral damage in a court full of professional backstabbers? The answer, my darlings, is probably yes. Jane Parker married George Boleyn, the brother of Anne. Now, at first glance, this looked like a very good deal. The Boleyn family was climbing faster than a courtier who had just spotted Henry VIII walking toward them. Anne was becoming increasingly important. George was intelligent, charming, and ambitious. The family was rising. Jane had every reason to believe she had secured herself a front-row seat to power. Instead, she had purchased tickets to a disaster. By the early 1530s, Anne Boleyn had become queen. The Boleyn family was everywhere. Anne, George, their father Thomas. It probably felt as though every hallway in England contained a Boleyn discussing strategy. Naturally, this made everyone hate them, because nothing irritates the nobles more than watching another family become successful. And Jane was right in the middle of it all, watching, listening, learning things, very dangerous things. Now, here is where the gossip begins. Reports suggest Jane and George may not have had the happiest marriage. And when I say not the happiest, I mean historians have spent centuries debating whether these two even liked each other. Some accounts suggest George could be arrogant. Others suggest Jane was frustrated. Some suggest they were simply trapped in a political marriage. Whatever the truth, it was hardly a fairy tale. Though, to be fair, fairy tales rarely include mass executions. Then came 1536, the year everything exploded. Henry had grown tired of Anne. Jane Seymour was waiting in the wings, and Thomas Cromwell was sharpening his political knives. Suddenly accusations appeared. Adultery, treason, incest. The Tudor court's greatest hits. And among the testimony used against Anne and George was information allegedly linked to Jane Boleyn. This is where historians begin throwing books at each other. Did Jane intentionally help destroy George? Did she merely repeat comments that were later twisted? Was she pressured? Manipulated? Terrified? Nobody knows for certain. What we do know is that George was arrested. Anne was arrested. The entire Boleyn Empire collapsed almost overnight, and Jane survived, which immediately made people suspicious. because surviving a Tudor catastrophe often meant someone else wasn't so lucky. Imagine it. One day you're part of the most powerful family in England. The next, your husband is executed. Your sister-in-law is executed. Your family's position is destroyed, and you are left standing among the ruins. That kind of experience changes people. It would change anyone, especially in a court where survival itself could become a crime. Most people would have disappeared quietly after that. Not Jane. Jane somehow clawed her way back into royal service. She became a lady-in-waiting to successive queens. Jane Seymour, Anne of Cleves, Catherine Howard. It was as if every time disaster struck, Jane emerged from the smoke and took another position. A remarkable survivor. Or a woman with absolutely no sense of self-preservation. Possibly both. Then came Catherine Howard. Young, beautiful, naive, and catastrophically unprepared for Tudor politics. Henry adored her. The court celebrated her. Everything seemed wonderful. Which means catastrophe is approximately 5 minutes away. Now, according to the evidence that later emerged, Jane became involved in arranging meetings between Catherine and Thomas Culpeper. And this was the mistake that ended everything. Because helping a queen secretly meet another man while married to the king is rather like juggling torches inside a gunpowder warehouse. Nothing good follows. Jane allegedly acted as a messenger, a facilitator, a helper, a woman trying to keep dangerous secrets hidden. The problem? Dangerous secrets eventually developed legs and run directly toward the king. Once the scandal broke, Catherine was doomed. But Jane wasn't safe either. Authorities questioned her relentlessly. At first, she reportedly suffered what today might be recognized as a mental breakdown. For a brief moment, it appeared she might escape execution, because the law generally did not permit the execution of someone judged insane. The government solved this problem in the most Tudor way imaginable. They changed the law. Apparently, rewriting legislation was easier than showing mercy. In 1542, Jane Boleyn walked to the scaffold alongside Catherine, the woman who survived Anne Boleyn, George Boleyn, and multiple queens. She spent years navigating England's deadliest court, and finally she ran out of luck. The axe fell, and Jane lost her head. Jane remains one of the most fascinating women of the Tudor age. Some see a betrayer, some see a victim, some see a survivor trapped in impossible circumstances. Perhaps she was all three. So remember, my darlings, in Tudor England, surviving one disaster did not guarantee survival of the next. Sometimes it simply meant your turn had not arrived yet. Next time we gather, we meet the Duke of Norfolk, a man so ambitious he would happily use friends, enemies, nieces, nephews, and probably the family dog if it helped him gain power. Trust me, when it comes to Tudor opportunists, Norfolk was operating in a league of his own. Now, my dears, as always, keep your crown straight and your head attached.